don't know if it's the same here as in our country, but everyone feels like they can't rise above and that they aren't going to make as much money as their parents, and that there's nothing but negative things in their future. But I feel like I'm a living example that if you work as hard as you can and you have some drive and something that you're devoted to, that with hard work you can achieve that.
I think sometimes that competitive thing initially can be good because you'll grow and you'll fight and you'll spar and you'll have these things and they'll take you to these amazing places if you can get through those things.
I'd been associated with a couple of different people that had really intense, drug problems, and when somebody dies from it, definitely. I mean, my view on drugs hasn't changed. I mean, I still would never shoot anything straight into my body like that. Or I mean, it just seems ridiculous. It seems totally ridiculous.
It's true that
especially when you don't know where the stuff's coming from, what it's cut with.
I didn't want to have anything to do with any kind of party. I was too happy being depressed.
I've read that We Were Shit Live about 6 times, and I think Mike Gitter wrote it every time. I don't think anybody else ever wrote a review like that. And he's still talking about it, which is kind of confusing. I mean, he really likes Pearl Jam.
The American public is really tuned in to their television. It becomes like Big Brother, and they start believing everything they hear or everything they read through media. And so I've thought about moving someplace where they had no media and I could be in touch with my own self, the people that were close to me, and the earth. Basically, that's what I'm doing in my life is trying to... I want to have really good karma. I want some time off. So I took the hotel stationery and put duct tape on the back so it'd be thick like canvas. And then I knew Jeff had watercolors and I had nothing. I went to the mini bar and I grabbed some Campari and some anisette, I think, and some tomato juice and some Coke. And then I needed a brush. And then so I cut some of my hair and tied it on a little stick for stirring the drink. And so yeah, I would say I'm interested in art. A video could be an art piece. An interview can be a way of communicating to a large amount of people at once.
It's a strange dynamic. I mean, there's Ed, and then there's Stone, and there's Jeff, and me, and Jack.
especially live, maturing as a band live makes, if it makes sense, the energy of the band is maturing also. As far as from like the first shows up until the show last night, it just keeps up the energy when it's intense. The intensity is just more and more.
But sometimes it's nice to talk to people.
Through Jack Irons, who's a friend of ours in LA, he's the drummer for Chili Peppers, and we were talking to him. He got a tape to Eddie, and Eddie sang over 3 of the instrumental tracks, and the first song was Alive, and that was actually one of the first songs, kind of, in terms of like digging up old stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's always like maybe something that you were working on 2 years ago that kind of pops up into your head and kind of translates into a song.
Let's say I worked in a McDonald's. I'd be the best McDonald's worker they ever saw. No matter what I did, I would just take pride in my job. I really feel, I don't know, well, I wouldn't work at McDonald's because I can't support McDonald's. I think I would be intelligent enough to know that they're doing a fine job at giving everyone diseases and making them overweight by using fancy colors to sell their product, which is meat. But no, no matter what I worked at, I still would actually play music because I always loved music and it was very important to me. And even if the songs would be heard by myself and my wife and maybe my little kid when he grew up, and I would do that. I mean, then my kid would know who his dad was because he could hear it in these songs. So I still would have played music, but no matter what job I had, I would have done so well that I would have ended up the president of the company, and I hope everyone knows that they can do that.
I think Eddie was drawing upon, a past experience, but it didn't really have anything to do with the rest of us. I think just the way that he writes lyrics too. I think a lot of them are vague enough and open enough that you can draw your own conclusions from, rather than playing these songs in the basement. We wanted to kind of take them to a different environment, so we just went down to this club and played in front of a couple hundred people. And that was the extent of it. Other than that, they've had a couple of shows that we played in Seattle where Chris and Matt came and did like 3 songs. And we did a thing at the Rip Party in LA too, where we played 2 songs. So that's the extent of it. We really can't take it any more serious than that because it was just a project. And I think at this point we're both really busy with our respective bands.
With us, when we're on stage, all the music that's coming out is coming from within us, and I think that's what makes our show honest, and that's what makes our show so intense. Nobody, Mike's not planning on stepping up and moving this way, and Jeff's not thinking, well, I got to move back to Miami for this part of the song. We just do what we do, and those bands that focus on keeping everything like that, they seem to lose that part that comes from within that so many people get excited about, and they end up, the shows aren't as intense because they're planning what they're doing rather than feeling it and just doing it, and the records and everything else. And it's just like, it's almost like integrity and respect, things like that. I respect them to do what they believe in. Like Rush and bands like that, they're hardcore fans, like people that went nuts over are now turned off because of all the samples and electric stuff and everything else, and whereas I respected that because they're just growing and it's driven.
I think the song kind of took on a whole different kind of theory when we went on the road, especially when we were on the road with the Peppers.
I still don't feel like we're completely, no, maybe it's not that. No matter how known we are, I'll always be overwhelmed. I still am. I'm still just a normal guy. Just normal little guy.
I had this thing, I went through it right. I need to sing and signify.
I think music is, at least for me, it's one of the more healing art forms.
To me, a lot of our music does that to me. I definitely kind of get lost in it. There'll be shows where I remember playing a song. You just kind of go. You try to think back, and you'll just kind of go. Wow.
I think you can start ideas, and I think you can I think even individually, I think you can write riffs, and you can even arrange a song from your end. But even the way that we write, everybody kind of writes their own part, and it's a lot of the songs develop in the rehearsal room. So there's all these ideas, a ton of ideas on tape and whatever.
I mean, we were in between labels at the time, so it was it made sense that it came to come out of A&M. And I mean, as far as A&M not promoting it, I just think they're really confused. I don't know if they really want to even promote a rock record. The fact that Soundgarden isn't bigger than they are right now is ridiculous. And I think they're pretty behind the Soundgarden records, but it's still not selling as many records as it should be.
We lost our faith and decided to do whatever we could do to get around that.
And it should be better now in the States because they're pretty much, they have polygram distribution, working them. And so I think that's probably part of the reason that this record's been a lot better than the last record did.
I still think that the same riff that I would have liked 8 years ago, I probably would still like now.
Anybody can put on a pair of headphones and put it on disc and play the records or whatever.
It's all about just the time we're having playing the song.
I don't write a lot of lyrics, so usually it's just kind of coming up with riffs and ideas that I like.
If it's everything that you think about when you're a kid, then there is nothing wrong with it. If this is what you dream about, and it turned out to be what you thought it was, then there would be nothing to be unhappy about.
The most inspirational time of a song might be the inception of the song, you know, when actually it's like the song is given, so to speak.
I'm doing my best. I'm thrilled. No, really. Do what you do for music and go out there every night and play as hard as you can and feel good about that.
Cameron Crowe, who's a good friend of ours, made a movie up in Seattle called Singles. And I mean, from the very beginning, like, Kelly, our manager, was really involved with it. I actually worked in the art department, like, on the movie.
The soundtrack is like, I haven't seen the movie yet, but the soundtrack is amazing. There's unreleased stuff by Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Mudhoney. It's a great Smashing Pumpkins song. Yeah, amazing song. He actually wrote 4 songs kind of within the context of the movie, and that song Seasons is a really, really cool song. And the songs that we gave them, State of Love and Trust and Breath. Breath was an older song that we kind of felt like it was a great song, but we didn't know how fresh it was going to stay if we didn't record it, so we recorded that and gave that to them. State of Love and Trust was actually a song that was written during the time that they were actually making the movie in Seattle, so it kind of has a little bit to do with, you know, what the movie's about.
I still don't feel like we're, no, maybe it's not that. No matter how known we are, I'll always be overwhelmed. I'm still the same, I'm afraid I'm still the 14-year-old kid that I always was.
We wanted there to be some weird stuff on there. Just, I mean, I think like what we did with Oceans, and kind of the beginning and the little thing at the beginning and the little thing at the end, the master-slave instrumental thing. Some of the stuff like that, I think that kind of maybe gave us a little bit of room. So, you know, the second record's not going to be this huge surprise. We're still going to want to rock out.
Well, we're a group, and I guess it was a video. I don't know how you could say it was the best. Just a little piece of art. You can't really put art into a competition, you know. But
I mean, something would have had to change, because we weren't really a band for the last year or so that we were together. It was the first time that all of us had ever dealt with, like, being signed to a major label and just all the pressures that go along with it and all the paranoia that goes along with it, and just how, like, within Seattle there's only a lot of people that you could just, like, go and ask, you know, like, how do you deal with this, how do you deal with this, and the communication within the band is just kind of really, the feminine side of me really bad. So I don't know, there was a lot of weird tension. I mean, and we didn't really write a song, you know, the last year or so we were together. So something would have had to change, or else it would have, like, that's Seattle.
We sound like a band again.
And hopefully the people that listen to our music will be into that, will want to see us grow, will want to grow with us. Part of the theory, like making the first record, was that we wanted there to be some weird stuff on there. it blows me away too. Like even in a place like Seattle where somebody like Andy dies, you know, everybody knew him, everybody thought he was like this great guy. The fact that he died and the fact that, you know, probably more people than ever shoot drugs in Seattle, you know, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've never been in a situation like that where, I mean, that's a death wish to me. I mean, it's like, you know, and there's one thing about, you know, there's on one aspect I think it's really great to like do things that get you excited and like make you, you know, want to live life, you know, more intensely. But shooting drugs is to me is
Not one of those things.
not one of those things.
Shouldn't be. Music.
I mean, go mountain climbing or, you know, we've already played more shows with this band than we ever did in that band, and that band was together for, you know, 2.5 years. So there never was an opportunity to develop our live theory. But I don't think we were shipping it live.
No, I saw him like 8 times. It was, I mean, every band has their on and off shows, but I mean, it was always entertaining. It was always really great. That's some really great shows.
You know, it was a completely different thing, and maybe, you know, Mike just didn't relate.
I think next year we're gonna try to tour to some places that maybe will even affect it even further. You know, I mean, I think we could probably do whatever we wanted to do. I think, you know, people are finding out that there's not really a lot of limitations as far as where you can play. State of Love and Trust and Breath. Breath was an older song that we kind of felt like it was a great song, but we didn't know how fresh it was going to stay if we didn't record it, so we recorded that and gave that to them. State of Love and Trust was actually a song that was written during the time that they were actually making the movie in Seattle, so it kind of has a little bit to do with, you know, what the movie's about.
I feel like I've exposed myself much too much, and I might be doing that very thing right now. But sometimes it's nice to talk to people.
Drummers are a different breed, definitely. That's no question. There's definitely something going on with songwriting.
And the scene was, you know, if there was a really big show, everybody from the scene that would show up from the punk rock scene, there'd be like 200 people there. Whereas now, you know, Nirvana and Mudhoney played to 3,200 people at the Paramount. It's a cold. I think Eddie was drawing upon, you know, a past experience, but it didn't really have anything to do with, like, you know, the rest of us. And I think just the way that he writes lyrics too, I think. And the theory was, even with Andy, was that, you know, he was used, you know, well, the fact that he hadn't done any drugs in a couple of months. The fact that before that, the stuff that he was using was probably like cut with something, so it was kind of like, it was mellower. And the stuff that he got this time supposedly was like really pure, really intense. It's kind of the fact that he didn't use anything in a long time, like the first time that he did it. I think there's better ways of explaining it to people, and I think maybe showing, you know, kids maybe pictures, or educating people on, like, you know, where it could lead you, you know. Just showing them an hour film, you know, going through Needle Park or something like that. I mean, actually I saw this movie called Christina F. I just, like, I'd moved out of home, I was in college, and I was actually, like, I was cranking on crystal. Like, you know, this was like the third or fourth time that I had ever done, like, you know, drugs like that. And I went to this movie because David Bowie was in it. Me and my friend are there, and we're just like, you know, totally buzzing. We see this movie of, like, you know, in Berlin, of, like, these kids, you know, getting totally whacked out on dope, and, like, you know, getting DTs and trying to come off it, and being locked in that room, and the scene where she goes back to that club. I mean, it's been 10 years since I've seen it, but she goes back to that club, she buys the stuff. Yeah, the songs change all the time. She goes to the bathroom stall and she's about ready to shoot up. The guy jumps over the bathroom stall, grabs the needle until he sticks it in his neck, and totally just like so intense. I was like, I mean, that was like education enough for me. Like, it's like, oh my God, these are people. And it was totally believable.
Anybody in life, you know, has to accept the challenges, and we talked to somebody who earlier who maybe had a severe handicap, and they're raising to it. So I must be the biggest asshole in the world if my only handicap is being a quote-unquote rock star.
We played South End the night before. I think he thought it was kind of funny how it said tidy. You know, it wasn't like in America it says It'll say keep America beautiful, or
don't live
keep New York clean. Keep New York clean.
So I think, and also it's the thing where people will say, what the hell is that?
People keep saying, do you have one for this? Do you have something? Yeah, just working on it.
And we just kind of started making decisions based on whether we wanted to do stuff.
It's like, what is 1 million people listening to your music? I couldn't visualize it.
You might want to give an ego a try. It's just such a sound.
I can't get to an ego. If you want to do it.
If I want to do it, I can get to an ego easier than you can get to an ego.
Well, I can't get to an ego after coming out of a single.
Makes sense.
Definitely wasn't planned to be the first single.
It's an epic song.
I can't even listen. I mean, I don't really listen to the record anymore, just because I've gotten so into how we're doing the songs now. It's just so much more exciting than. I love the record and everything, but I love the spontaneity, and I love Eddie live, everything.
At the same time, I mean, we made the record when we were early, man. About 3 or 4 months. So I think where we were at, I think we made the best record that we could, and I think it was a great learning experience. And I get it. It's like I think we did some amazing things on it. I mean, it's actually. I mean, I haven't really listened to the record that much, but a few days ago I heard part of it, and it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Definitely things about it that, that I think we probably won't ever do again. There will be other things that we'll do. Twice.
So see, I typed that out just in one take.
I mean, the whole reason for making the record that early too was just like, just wanting to document the music when it was fresh. And a lot of those songs were like really new. Some of the songs were like a month old or 3 weeks old. So.
I think that that's kind of part of our relationship is we don't necessarily have to communicate with each other about everything, and there is a mutual respect, and I don't think we always understand each other, but that's okay, and that's what I really like about the band is that there's that, you know, we come from different places, and I think we tend to see the world very differently at times.
Trying to create artwork for it is pretty hard, I think. Like trying to create something that's going to give that feeling of potential.
No, I mean,
it's more a reference to the future, and the present.
Yeah, it's definitely a reference to the present. I think there was something happening, and
That's it.
And we got such a good response from that song that we put it on the record. I think even a song like Black is really intense live. Even though it's like a really mellow song, you know, on the record. I think of
right now it's like
Tropic of Cancer, the Henry Miller book, where he says like, you know, I don't have any food, I don't have any money, I don't know, you know, where I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm the happiest man alive. You know? I think the songs kind of took on a whole different kind of theory when we went on the road, especially when we were on the road with the Peppers. And we got 30 minutes to basically, you know, show the crowd what we had. And
Well, I think we, like he was saying, just from touring, and it's really just we've taken the songs to a new level and made them a lot more exciting. I think so the record is just a period piece when we're. That's how we were at that time.
if the second record or the third record doesn't sell as well as the first record, we'll, you know, by our third or fourth record, you know, we're gonna have another record that does well. Definitely, last night was definitely a little bit frustrating last night, definitely.
I kept talking about Coach and Jeff and all.
You got some wounds, don't you? You had some last night. You had some. Looks like Mike was chewing on you. And nobody does anything. And then it's like later that night they're doing another interview, and they're talking to this guy while they're walking, and he steps over the body, and it was that same guy, dead. He had died. Man, so fucking unreal. And guys that just make their living to support their habit by sitting there fucking mixing drugs for other people and shooting them up. Oh, it's just fucking I was just like so blown. Thousands of people shooting at it.
It's really, really cheap there. It's legal, and
It's not legal to sell it, but it's legal to do it in that part. They just closed it yesterday. They're going through today and making arrests. I mean, that blows me away. That'd be like, something's illegal. Here, go get even more addicted to it in a free access zone, and then one day just pull the carpet out from people and start arresting them and putting them in jail.
we're just gonna do what we do. I mean, we're gonna be a band, and we're gonna grow, and we're gonna explore, and we're gonna try different things.
I think even more than anything, like, I think we're looking forward to just going back and practicing in our little rehearsal place in Seattle and just kind of getting back into that frame of mind.
Just getting a chance to play with like people that you respect and people that were your friends that you never really got a chance to jam with. But one of those things that you always talk about with fellow musicians. Let's get together and jam. Let's get together and write a song or whatever. I think the next record we'll have it's ambient moments too, and it's laid back moments, and I think the next record's gonna have some way more intense moments.
I guess I'm also in fear of controlling my destiny. Of not being able to control my destiny. That's why I vote. That's why I speak out when I see something going wrong. I don't want something to go wrong for me and not having one speak on my behalf.
Chills that you can't even, they almost feel like they're going to take you away just from the music, and being part of that is even more intense. But when I can get that feeling from a record, that's basically why I buy the music in the first place.
Last night somebody asked me a question. They said, what is your favorite word? And the first thing I thought is, what a stupid fucking question. I don't like to talk to the common folk. My favorite word was who. I could just stare at that word and feel joy. The band was so important to me, and are still important, and they're out in the States playing Quadrophenia. Well, The Who recorded it when they were called the High Numbers in 1963. And that's where I first heard it. And then I found out that a band called Jimmy Vaughn and the Cadillacs or something recorded it in Seattle. So one of the first recorded versions was actually a small R&B band in Seattle, which I thought was interesting. There's monks that will tell you that you have 39 days. First they told me that you're reincarnated. And I said, well, I've always wondered, how many days in between do you get? And they said 39. As a child, you read about foreign countries and foreign cultures, and you don't really think you'd ever see them firsthand, not to mention play and share songs and words and ideas with them. And I still feel like it's a privilege, and so I thank you.